Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Life of Logan. While you're here, I would greatly appreciate it if you would please make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure to follow me on my socials. I can be followed on TikTok, The Dashing Mr. Logan, and I can be followed on Instagram, lifeofloganpod there. And if you want to email me, you can do so by emailing the show, lifeofloganpod@gmail.com. That is lifeofloganpod@gmail.com. Today's episode will be about the conflict, or specifically the role that conflict plays in how we view things and how we look at our relationships or the relationship dynamic with people, or lack thereof if there is a barrier there. We have a tendency to focus on bad over good. Now, don't get me wrong, there have been times where bad things happen and they will outweigh the good. They don't erase the good, but they will definitely outweigh it. Where it's like, I don't care how good something is or how good the connection is. This is really horrific what I'm dealing with right now, and it severs the ties. I think that sometimes we are also guilty of being prisoners of the moment. And then you realize something wasn't as bad, or things could have been maybe worked out or handled differently looking back on it. Hindsight is 2020. If you're playing the result, then of course you know the answers. You have all the answers because you know what the result of your predecessor's answer, the results of your predecessor's answers did to influence the equation. Conflict does not have to define our relationship. And it pains me, even as I've had to check myself, because I've been a person who, over the course of my life, when someone has brought up certain people or mentioned certain people, and they've asked me about them, the first thing I brought up was the conflict that we had. And sometimes the conflict wasn't even the last time that we spoke, but for me at the time, that was a defining point. Like, that was a lightning rod. That was a turning point. That was the start of when I decided that, sometimes silently, or sometimes, I was rather verbose about it, where I just decided, okay, I'm not dealing with this person anymore. Or when I stopped dealing with this person, when I stop dealing with you, this is going to be the reason why. Like, I want you to remember this moment, because when I stop dealing with you in the future, this is the reason why. This is one of the straws that eventually will break the camel's back. This is a crack in the ice that eventually, a crack in the thin ice that you're starting to skate on. And I was wrong. I was wrong because even with some of these connections that I form, that I've let them be highlighted by conflict. I've allowed them to be highlighted by conflict, but the more and more I look back on them, yes, there was some conflict. Yes, there were some ups and downs and everything, but that's with anything in life. And not just when you're dealing with other people, even when you're just dealing with life itself, there will be ups and downs. Life is not always going to be the land of milk and honey. Sometimes you're going to have to walk barefoot on hot gravel, to put it, to paraphrase, I guess. But life isn't always going to be good. So I don't want anyone to look at life with another person, because connections are beautiful, romantic connections, connections in other forms of love, family connections, connections that you have with your children, connections you have with your friends, platonic ones, just connections when you have just human level connections, because there is a reason why there are so many people on the earth, because we're actually supposed to be able to live with each other and amongst each other. But we get bogged down. and then conflict happens. This is a part of life. This is a part of life, and we all have breaking points. We all have points where we just decide, hey, I need to pull back. But I am just asking you, because it can't be done in every situation. Some situations, no, the conflict needs to take a very overarching approach to what's going on, because the conflict was so great, it destroyed what we had. It destroyed the connection, the moment, and that is possible. But I want you to think about those other moments where it could be just like petty conflict. It could be conflict over misunderstanding. It could be conflict over matters of ego or pride. It could be conflict just because, just because, because a lot of people are fighting or have beef or drama or problems with other people, and sometimes you don't even remember why anymore. Or if you do remember why, you're just like, yeah, that's petty, but you just don't want to give it up. So I would say, if you are in a position to, and this does take some forgiveness on all ends, and just being realistic about the situation, but if the relationship can be salvaged, do not let conflict define it. That's just my plea to you all. Do what you will with that information. Hey, thank you all so much for tuning in to another episode of Life of Logan. If you appreciate what I'm doing around here, make sure that you stomp on that like button. Make sure that you pass the collection plate around. That means share the episode, share the entire show, share the catalog with any and everyone who you feel like can use this, and that is each and every person within the sound of my voice. Thank you all so much, and I want to send a special congratulations out to you if you're listening to this, and I know maybe the year hasn't been kind to you already. A lot of stuff from last year is carrying over. A lot of things from life over the past few years are carrying over. But here you are. You're still making it. You're still moving forward. And you are still going strong. I appreciate you all so much for tuning in. And I'll talk to you again next week. As always, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.